Lecture 4, everybody. So I hosted a small group today, and I won't be covering. I will not be covering anything different. This Thursday will be a different lecture. So I just wanted to kind of go over intro, chapter 1, chapter 2, real quick with you. So the author, Vigil, is introducing us to the framework that he's going to use to explain the how a group of people who share a historical experience begin to act, react, adapt to the changes that happen over a long period of time from the extent of the individual, but from the extent of a society, it's a short period of time. And so we have to commend the resilience of the Chicano Latino people as they're reacting to these changes brought about different factors. The factor number one, invasion. Factor number two, removal of their wealth and know-how and intellectual property. Number three, the exploitation of their labor, which also creates inequalities, introducing a new class, economic class system. So that's so an introduction. He's kind of starting to give us a look at what how he's gonna break down this process. In chapter 1, we see obviously stuff that we covered in detail in Chicano 201, which is basically the contributions of the native people of the Americas to transform the world. The human beings, in order to settle in a particular place, need to master agriculture, and in order to master agriculture, they need to discover a species of plant that lends itself towards becoming a daily sustenance. And for the native people, the genius behind corn, it hasn't been surpassed as of today. That plant's still being used, and its use is being expanded into all areas of life, from products that we use daily to the food stuff that we use daily. So then he moves on to chapter 2, and in chapter 2 he gives us a little glimpse into what Mesoamerica was organized socially. And when socially means the social, political, economic organization, and how that evolved. There's a couple of things he says that I'm not really I don't fully buy into, which is the part of capturing people for mass sacrifice. The reason, not that I'm dismissing the possible practice, but I'm looking at it from the lens of whenever you present an observation like that, you need evidence. Now, modern Western lensed archaeologists, anthropologists, they tend to go into and uncover sites, and they find bodies, and sometimes they find the bodies with evidence that weapons might have been used, and they deduce from there the possibility of sacrifice. And in the case of the author, he goes, there was mass sacrifice. I think he's just repeating what others have concluded. Going back to the evidence, where are the mass burial grounds where hundreds, if not, according to them, thousands of people perished? So where would they put him at? How much fuel would it require to burn up all those bodies to erase potential evidence? So yeah, you can find people. I mean, I can go to the local cemetery here and uncover, depending on the size of the cemetery, a couple of tens to twenties or hundreds of people, and deduce from there the possibility of sacrifice. In some instances, maybe some of these folks might have been hit by cars. Maybe one or two were murdered. So again, iffy there. I wouldn't necessarily buy into it. And that's kind of like one of the things that I think I'm going to introduce later on, maybe around week 6 or 7, is how do we look at what we're reading and really take in faith what we're reading as true. And I have a nice 2 video comparison that will help you. Not that we're looking to become masters of that, but to be able to understand that as we're reading material, doesn't matter whether in this class or somewhere else, ultimately, how do we arrive at what we believe it to be the truth? And concrete evidence definitely helps. Again, I'm not disputing possible ritual sacrificial of people taking place across the planet, not necessarily just in Mexico. But when they put it in this in such a way where it sounds like it was massive, like thousands and thousands of people, that's where I began to question stuff, because then you need evidence for that. Okay, not too difficult to find a couple of bodies and say, hey, there's probably sacrifice here. Maybe he was executed. Maybe they broke the law. It was a pretty strict society in some respects, particularly with the Aztecs. So people could have been ritually killed. Yeah. All right. So that's. I'm sending you a summary of what I think you should take from these chapters to sort of warm you up to the rest of the book. And I hopefully some of that information kind of gives you a backdrop to try to understand. Right, we're 21st century human beings navigating the world with our Western lens. Some of you have had the privilege to access a Chicano lens, which scrutinizes further the exaggerations and lies and mistruths that Western people have introduced into the educational system regarding our heritage, that part of our heritage. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Unfortunately, Vigil sometimes, at least in this chapter 2, he slips down a little bit from my perspective. Of course, that's my opinion. All right, we'll leave it at that. We're heading on to 7 plus minutes, and I'll talk to you for a group of you on Thursday. Bye bye.